Good morning, friends, and welcome to Trans India Real People, Real Emotions. Last week, we had three eminent road safety experts with us talking about the growing instances of road accidents in India and how technology could help in reducing road accidents. And today, we have a proven technology that not only aims to bring down road accidents but also trains the drivers to drive better so that they don't even reach the stage of a near miss accident. We were invited to the Technology Center of Netradyne, a global leader in AI driven fleet safety, to showcase their latest offering, the DMS sensor. The flagship product of Netradyne, which is the D450, has already brought down accidents by more than 50%, and Netradyne, which is always looking to innovate, is already working on ways to bring down accidents by a higher number. Of course, for the above results in your fleet, you will have to install the devices, which costs nothing. You heard that right, nothing. It is a plain and simple subscription model which includes the device, and the cost is so affordable that even if you save one accident, you would have recovered the cost of your entire fleet and saved lives. While we were taken around the Tech Center and Innovation Center of Netradyne by Srinivas Rao and Karthik Parthasarthy, Vinay Rai and Durgadutt Nedungadi gave us insights into the company, its offerings, features, and global presence. Here are excerpts of the presentation by Vinay Rai.
Our product is somewhat unique in the sense it's neither pure software, not pure hardware, not pure AI. It's a combination of all of these three together. It's a device that all of you probably saw in our labs that is mounted on the windshield of any vehicle, and it has got cameras, which is essentially like eyes. Think of it like a human sitting next to the driver. Uh, as a co-passenger, somebody sitting next to you, whatever they as a human are able to observe both on the road as well as within the cabin, right? For example, if the driver is driving very fast and following another vehicle very closely, it's a risky driving situation, right? So the person sitting next to you, they will tell you that you're indulging in risky driving here. Or if you are looking at your phone while you're driving, or you're texting while you're driving, or if you are drowsy while you're driving, or if you are jumping through a traffic light, or if you are taking a U-turn where U-turn is not allowed, right? A variety of these situations, they entail risky driving. And all of this is possible because our device has the eyes in the form of cameras and many other sensors just like us humans have, and also brain just like us humans have, right? So brain in the form of our deep learning models, CNN, I mean all the models that are running on the device. So again, all of us may be hearing a lot about AI nowadays. The AI that we talk about a lot nowadays, that is one branch of AI. It is called generative AI, Gen AI, and LLMs. I'm sure everyone is essentially very much aware. We started this company 10 years ago when AI was just picking up, and Gen AI is one part of our solution, but many of the other aspects of our solution, they require a different type of AI, and that's something that we have implemented on our device. And talking about the overall solution, right? There are two things that our customers get at a high level. The goal is for anyone is to reduce accidents, right? And hence save lives as well. How do you do that? Again, imagine that somebody is sitting next to you while you're driving, and before it's too late, they tell you put down the phone, or they ask you to take rest because you're drowsy, or they give you feedback saying that, okay, don't go too fast next to this vehicle, you may run into an accident if the other person applies a brake suddenly, etc., right? And till date, we have more than 4 billion alerts, so 400 crore alerts generated by our system. why are we able to monitor that or count that is also because the way we sell our products to B2B right now, business to business, and Durga will talk a lot more about our business, etc. But just for setting context, so other companies buy our product. Those companies are interested in making sure that their drivers are driving safe, right? And if the drivers are driving safe, there are less number of accidents, less time lost, because anyone who has a vehicle that is for a business purpose, right? They want to make sure that the vehicles deliver stuff from place A to place B. If there's an accident, one risk is obviously loss of life. Second risk is loss of brand value. Third risk is lost time of the resources. The vehicle is a resource that you use for business. And then, of course, maintenance, repair, etc., right? Potentially, insurance premium may go high. So, variety of reasons for businesses to have this kind of a solution. So, one is instant feedback to the drivers. So, as an example, if driver is looking at their phone, or if the driver is driving any sort of risky driving, then the device processes that and gives instant feedback, so that the driver can take corrective action right then and potentially prevent some accidents from happening. The second type of situation, as all of us know, every time you indulge in a risky driving behavior, you do not run into an accident, right? But if you are a risky driver by habit, then sooner or later, it's a matter of time, you'll have an accident at some point in time. So there is a benefit of having visibility by the fleet's safety officer. If I'm getting supported by the device and I get visibility every time there is an alert or a risky driving behavior, that also gets uploaded to cloud, where I as a safety manager can sit and look at the dashboard, right, and see what are the kind of behaviors my drivers are generally indulging in or experiencing while driving, right? And so I can coach them, because I also have the supporting video. I have the not only the AI generated alert, but also the supporting alert, so that there is not so much to dispute. It's not like he said or she said. It's like, here is the video. I see that you as a driver have been have this habit of following another vehicle at a high speed, right? In last 1 month, I have seen that you have generated 20 such alerts. So these are potentially 20 accidents, right? You don't know when that will happen, but if you keep doing that, you will have that accident. So this kind of a solution, because it's connected to cloud as well. So it's the device, it's the world-class AI running on the device, and cloud. All of these three come together to offer this kind of offer the solution to our customers, right? So you can prevent accidents in real time, but also coach them on longer term habits.
Durgadutt Nedungadi, popularly known as Durga, spoke about the global presence of Netradyne and gave insights into their product range and features, including the newly launched DMS. This is what Durga had to say.
I just wanted to say that we're now in the process of getting truly global. We started our business in India and the US with the hypothesis that if the technology could deal with the two polar driving conditions that these two markets have, then we should be able to adopt it to most driving conditions worldwide. And that hypothesis is now coming true. We launched outside India and the US. We launched our first geography in the UK and ANZ parallelly about about 3+ years ago now. We're now present in India, US, UK, ANZ, Germany, Netherlands, Spain. We just launched in Japan a month ago, and that was really complex. You can imagine the complexity of the written signs and the language and everything. We're in Canada and Mexico, and end of this year, early next year, we will be launching in the Middle East. So we're really on the path of becoming a truly global company. I think one of the things that, from a business perspective, we didn't talk about was that we're seeing hugely encouraging growth right? Because of the adoption by customers. For the past 3 years, year on year, we've had between 50 and 60% growth. And we only see that continuing for the next couple of years, right? So not only is the adoption from customers really encouraging, we also believe that, from a white space perspective, right, the adoption or the penetration of video-based safety is so low that there is a long way to go in terms of addressing the total market. So that gives us an opportunity to continue this really aggressive growth rate, right? As Vinay said, when we crafted this mission statement about 3 to 4 years ago, we actually said that we should be able to reduce accidents by up to 50% within 12 months of actually, having the technology in your vehicles. At that time, we felt that it was ambitious, but we are proud of the fact that today we're seeing those results in our customers. So we are now in that stage where we're saying, what should our next ambitious mission statement really be, right? And when I alluded to this, in India itself, it's the equivalent of 2 737 planes crashing every day, right? Sorry?
That's the wrong thing to say.
I know, but that's the truth, right?
We have to go back.
Really? I mean, imagine whenever there is a single plane crash, there is so much of angst that we have, all for all the right reasons, right? Unfortunately, deaths on the road tend to get kind of,
They're not noticed, unfortunately.
Not noticed. Creating the first positive recognition through driver star alerts, whether it's real-time coaching. In 2023, we launched a Gen AI-based safety manager assistant. And to your question around Gen AI, right? I mean, imagine you have a fleet of, say, 500 vehicles, okay? You probably have about 700 drivers driving those 500 vehicles day in and day out, right? You want to know which driver created what kind of alerts on which day and give me a pattern of that, right? Or any kind of query which normally would have required you to run a report on a database. Today we have a safety manager assistant which takes a natural language query with like, give me my top 5 drivers who had the best green zone score for the past 45 days, right? And the data comes up for you. Give me the top 3 alerts which my fleet has been generating over the last year so that I can take the right corrective action. And that data comes up for you. It's all there, right? So these are applications, apart from everything that Vinay described, which we've already had. We've had it for more than 2 years now. He's telling me to hurry up. So, so just a quick look at the product portfolio, right? Our basic device is the one on the right side in that white rectangle. That's a 2-camera device. 1 camera facing outwards, 1 camera facing inwards, with all the alerts that we spoke about so far. The next slightly more powerful hardware-based device is the 4-camera device, which is basically the D450 in its current generation. Apart from having a more powerful processor inbuilt, and a powerful processor means that you can actually deal with more complex AI algorithms, right? And because we process everything on the edge, unlike a lot of players, we don't send stuff up to the cloud, compute on the cloud and send it back. Everything is on the edge, so it's instantaneous. We also have storage on the device so that you can store up to 100 to 200 hours of drive time. It has LTE, it has GPS, all, and we don't want to drive our business based on a spec. We want to drive our business based on the outcome that the customer wants to achieve, right? And that's it. That's an important distinction if you really would know what I mean, right? And our product has the ability to actually morph based on that. So those on the extreme left, you have what we call the D-Hub X. Basically, you have either 2 or 4 cameras on the device itself. But suppose you have a large oil tanker, right? And you need to see the 2 flanks of the tanker, you need to see the rear of the tanker. You probably need to focus on, say, I don't know, in some vehicles, you have, say, an important pressure kind of device or whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, you want to connect more cameras. The D-Hub X allows you to do that in addition to the 2 or 4 cameras that the device has, right? Now, the advantage of that is that you get 4 additional views of your vehicle along with the views that you get of the 2 or 4 cameras in your device, and you can see them all together so that you get the complete context of what actually happened, right? That's very valuable for a lot of our customers, and that's the D-Hub X. And then finally, the DMS, which we just announced, right? Which is a little different from the cameras which are in the device itself, because the DMS camera is actually trained at the driver's face. Not only does it, track eye blink. So typically, when you look at drowsiness, it's a function of either frequency of blink. So either you start blinking much faster than normal, or you start blinking slower. So blink frequency, as well as blink duration, right? Are you blinking once and then trying to stay awake and holding on for a long time? Or is your eye closed for a much longer duration than normal, right? So all of these are factors which the DMS sensor tracks. It even has the ability to look at your pupil, and all of this through even sunglasses, as Vinay mentioned, right? So whether it's during the day, during the night, we have the ability to look at the eyes, and then we have algorithms which are based on sleep scales, etc., which then allow us to do not only tell you that this driver is sleepy, but we have the ability to say that this driver is likely to get sleepy in the next few minutes, right? So prior to the driver actually falling asleep, we raise an alert, which we call a moderate alert. Then if that alert repeats itself again within a period of time, there is a different level of severity which is applied to that. And then finally, when the driver reaches what we call micro sleep, when he is actually falling asleep, that's the most severe kind of critical alert that we raise. And some of our recent introductions are, things like forward collision warning, pedestrian collisions. Sitting duck is when there's a stationary vehicle and you're approaching it, and there is a threat of a collision there. Speed for conditions is interesting because we now detect heavy rain, heavy snow, heavy fog, raise alerts based on that, and then the fleet safety manager can reduce the fleet speed limit according to what the conditions look like, right? So all of these are, as Vinay was saying, we continually innovate, and these are some of the new innovations.
Netradyne is committed to save lives of people, and the resounding success across the globe speaks volume of their achievements. Trans India spoke to Durga post the presentations, where he further explained the journey and mission of Netradyne. Here's an interaction with Durgadutt Nedungadi as he also explains the subscription model of Netradyne. So Durga, last we spoke was almost
about a year and a half ago, yeah.
What has changed in this period?
Oh, lots has changed. From a company perspective, I think when we spoke last, we hadn't yet raised our Series D funding. Right, which we raised in between December and January of this year. We raised about $122 million.
Okay.
Which is our Series D. We had one of our existing investors actually double in and increase their investments. Plus, we had a couple of new investors join as well, which was really encouraging because and at that point of time, we were valued at about 1.34, 1.35 billion dollars, right? So that was one big change because it gave us the ability to now look at how to take the next steps of scale, right? Whether it's to actually scale in terms of expanding into new geographies with go-to-market resources, or to actually look at innovating on some of the new stuff that we spoke about and accelerating the time to market, right? So all of that was a great result of the Series D. We have launched in multiple new geographies since then, right? We are now commercial in Germany. I think when we spoke, I told you that Germany is on the plan.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
That's right.
We're now commercial in Germany, in Spain, in the Netherlands. We launched in Japan a month ago, and we're now getting into markets like the Middle East either end of this year or early next year. So we're truly on that path of establishing a global footprint, right? We've introduced some cool innovations, right? The DMS sensor was one of them.
Tell me a bit more about the DMS sensor. What is so different about it?
The difference is in terms of two things, right? One, the accuracy and the precision of it, because it's basically focused on the eyes, right? So it has the ability to detect with far more precision the blink of an eye, which is abnormal versus just a normal blink.
Right.
So for example, when you have a device on a windshield, it's always looking down on you, right? So there are times when even if the driver is looking down, the device could think that he's closing his eyes, right? So with this device, the precision levels are far, far higher.
Okay.
Right? That's first. The second is with this device, we can now actually look at various stages of fatigue and sleep, right? So because it looks at blinks, it looks at pupil dilation, etc., you're now able to say, okay, this man is now moderately sleepy, which means that there is an impending event of sleepiness which is going to hit him.
Right.
So you're alerting the guy before he's actually falling asleep, right? And then we have the ability to introduce, as I was saying, haptics like seat vibrators, which then, at a severity of when the guy is actually asleep, wake the guy up, right? So these are some of the cool innovations we've done. We didn't talk about it too much, but in the US, we've just launched the D810, which is an 8-camera kind of a device with AI capable on all 8 cameras, right? Now that gives you a whole new capability. So if you have a long vehicle, for example, right, it gives you the ability through an AI camera on the side to detect blind spots, right? Through an AI camera at the back, it allows you to detect reverse collision, right? It allows you to detect in the UK, for example, there is a regulation called DVS, which also says that as you move forward, as you're in a stationary vehicle, you're starting up and you're moving forward, you need to ensure that there's nothing around the fender of that vehicle, right? Which might not be visible to you.
Absolutely.
Right? So all of these are now capabilities which we've added on, all since the last 12, 13 months since we last spoke.
But you also spoke that the acceptability of this product is more in the US in terms of volume vis-a-vis in India. Why is that?
So I don't think the two markets are comparable from an absolute perspective.
Okay.
Right? and the reasons for that are many, but the most prominent ones are obviously there is a propensity to spend, which is far more in the US than in India.
Right.
Having said that, we're actually seeing 100% growth in India. Right? So from a growth perspective, we're probably growing much faster than the US in India, which means that adoption is increasing pretty rapidly.
But we're starting from a lower base in India.
Much lower base,
Yes.
right? Much lower base, and despite the fact that in the past, I think fleets have not really set aside money for driver and vehicle safety. We are seeing that now change.
But do you think road safety in India still is at a very nascent stage? We don't take it as seriously as we should, considering especially, the kind of accidents we have.
Look, I don't want to make a judgmental comment on that, okay? But I certainly think that if there is a way to improve, we are amongst the worst as far as our road fatalities record is concerned. And if there is technology which can reduce it significantly by up to 50% as we see, I mean, even half of that 50% is a lot of lives saved.
Every life saved is a bonus.
Is a huge
Absolutely.
bonus. So I think that awareness is now improving, okay? And that awareness that by spending an incremental amount of money, you can make a significant impact, both not only on saving lives. I mean, a life doesn't really have a value attached to it, right?
Absolutely.
But the rest of the stuff does. For example, if you're carrying precious goods, if you're in an oil and gas or a chemical hazardous material kind of vehicle, not only the value but the potential of impact that an event could cause with that vehicle is huge.
Like what happened in Jaipur recently is a classic example
Absolutely,
of that.
classic example of that. And we've had quite a few of those, by the way, right? So the awareness that an incremental amount of money could actually lead to a huge amount of monetary savings as well is slowly starting to seep in, which is a great sign if you ask me. So are we there yet? Probably we have some ways to go.
But we are getting there.
But
We are on the right path.
We're on the right path. We've started to make the right, or the trend line is in the right direction, let's put it that way.
You spoke about the monetary part. Look at what is the average cost of this device or a solution that a transporter has to spend per truck. The reason I asked you is because what amount would he spend to get the considerable amount of savings? I mean, one accident saved, can he recover the cost?
Price varies, right? Price varies from geography to geography,
Right.
as well as from solution to solution.
So what's the
Right?
range?
And we have multiple solutions.
Right.
So the basic 2-camera device that I spoke about our price to a fleet would be around 21 to 2,200 rupees a month. Which, if you look at a vehicle,
And there is no hardware cost to this. It's just a
it's
solution,
just pure,
the device to you.
like you pay for your SaaS software, right?
Right.
It's a per month subscription.
Right.
Your device is under warranty for the term of your software, for your subscription contract.
Right.
No questions asked. If it doesn't work, we replace it.
Okay.
So if you really look at it, assume you have a truck which probably costs today on an average 50 or 60 lakhs of rupees, right? And if you look at the cargo it carries, probably given, it varies of course depending on what it is.
A lakh to a couple of crores.
Take a lower value, right? Take another 30 to 40 lakhs of cargo that it is carrying, right? It becomes a 1 crore kind of an object on the road.
Yes.
And one potential accident could result in at least 50%, if not 100% of that going away.
Yes.
All you have to do is the math, right? 50 lakhs, 2,500 rupees a month. The math is very clear.
That's cheaper than a cost of a black label bottle bought from duty free, I guess. I mean, that's what transporters would understand. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the savings are enormous if you look at it. But then, recently the industry keeps talking about driver shortage. Cleaner shortages,
Always,
you cannot
yeah.
really address that. Maharashtra government recently passed a notification that you can do away with cleaners if you have a DMS in your vehicle.
Right.
Do you think this would help you boost sales, and should other states also adopt this?
So, Girish, the difference is, and I'm being very blunt here, forgive me if I'm making a very controversial statement, right? I think what we need is a little bit of diligence that regulations are followed for the sake of the outcome rather than for the sake of compliance,
Right.
right? So you can get a camera anywhere and call it a driver monitoring system.
But does
Right.
it really monitor?
Does it actually monitor? Right? So we need to build that social consciousness that if there is a regulation, it is meant to drive a certain outcome. If that happens, absolutely, right? But if we let it just become a tick in the box, then the service providers or the transporters will just see it as a mandatory added cost, which they have to bear, and then they will just go in for, whatever is
Base model which just
no, which
records
might not
basically.
even it might just be
Can
recording,
be a
right?
dummy camera also. You
Might
never
just be
know.
recording for all you know, right?
Right.
If that. So that's where I think we need to tighten up a little bit. Obviously, regulations help a lot, right? But that's the step that we need to take to ensure that
The purpose has to be met.
exactly,
Actual.
exactly.
Finally, Durga, do you see, 10 years wherever you've come, do you see the growth being much faster now with the transporters getting more aware, the customers also pushing their transporters to, install these kind of devices?
Absolutely. We're seeing growth. So if you're looking at India specifically, we're seeing a huge growth. And I'll tell you, some of the awareness which we really, really appreciate, right, is some of the large corporates
Yes.
actually taking it upon themselves to ensure that some stuff happens. So, for example, there are companies like Nestle, like Shell, like Unilever, etc., Tata Steel, right, who say that if you want my business, then you have to have this technology installed in your vehicle, which delivers goods to me.
But then, do you believe that the customers are the ones who will actually be driving this more than the transporters themselves?
Look, in an ideal world, right, and a lot of our global customers do this. In an ideal world, obviously the guy with the bigger pockets is the multinational.
Right.
Right.
Of course.
A lot of our global customers are actually providing incentives for their service providers to display improved safety standards.
Brilliant.
So what they say is that you meet a certain minimum threshold. One part of your investment in that tech comes back to you. If you meet all the goals, you get the entire investment back. Now, in the larger scheme of things, for the returns in terms of safety that it gives you, the global company really is not spending too much.
Peanuts for them.
Yeah. So this is a model which we've seen being adopted by a number of countries globally. And we're hoping that translates into the next step in India as well. But that's a model which certainly works.
Thank you so much, Durga. And I will catch you again exactly after a year to see the next round of progress.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure meeting you again.
Lack of sleep amongst truck drivers is a common occurrence. And while there are various factors for the same, here we have a tried and tested solution that alerts the driver as well as the transporter so that a possible disaster can be avoided. And of course, there are other safety features that are very handy tools for the truck driver. With the transport industry adopting technology at a fast pace, this is yet another piece of the jigsaw puzzle that can effectively bring down road accidents and save lives. We will leave you with some excerpts from the Netradyne Tech Center, where Srinivas Rao and Karthik Parthasarthy took us around the facility and explained the processes and systems. You have been watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
Here, like
the hardware development happens fully in-house, like the mechanical, thermal simulations, electrical simulations. Okay, so the CAD part of it, the mechanical. So the everything happens like the designer developer sits there, okay, in that sitting area. Okay, so once we design like the manufacturing deliverables, like we give it to one of the proto house. Okay, so once we get the proto here, so the proto testing starts. As part of the proto testing, like we do a lot of probing of the various signals. Okay, so and then debugging if there are any issues in the protos, like we fix them, and then like we give it again for the refabrication. Okay, so as part of the debugging, like we use very like high-end spectral analyzers. Okay, this spectral analyzer is basically used for the noise debugging. Okay, so for example, the GPS sensitivities are like are order of levels like 130, minus 130 to 140 dBm. So there, the bare passing of the FCC is not sufficient. The FCC is like much below the standards. So, but this noise within the board can impact the GNSS, the GPS accuracy. Okay, so we find like what exactly, like what frequencies are leaking in the system, and then we fix that. QA and software lab. Okay, so here the number of devices will be like many, because like we have to test for various scenarios of the field testing, the various software corner testing. So when we increase the volume, the number of devices testing, like then we can figure out the early bugs in the lab itself. So if you see this, maybe some 50-60 devices will be there, the 450 devices.
What exactly is being tested now? I mean, some examples of what exactly is happening here.
Okay, so let us say that, okay, so user is given some alert, like, so we have user alert button here. So once user alert button is pressed by the driver or somebody in the cabin, okay, so that 1 minute level video has to be uploaded to our cloud for the for later reference. Okay, so we can create here in this lab, we can create this and then see like whether that video is uploaded into the cloud. We can check that. The vibration. Okay, so we can actually create the vibration same as the vehicle. So we mount our device here. Okay, so it vibrates. Okay, in all three axes, X, Y, Z. So we create a 15 years of the life within like 32 hours in each axis. Okay, so this is only vibration without thermal. This is our thermal chamber. So what happens is this, we can put it inside this. Okay, so where thermal cycling and then the vibration happens together, which is the real case, test case.